Lewis Hamilton has recently lifted the curtain just enough to offer the world a glimpse into the frustrations he's been harboring behind the visor. His words were measured, his tone calm, but beneath the surface, the message was unmistakable. The root of his struggles in the early stages of the 2025 season might not lie in his hands, but rather in the machine beneath him. The seven-time world champion didn't call anyone out by name. He didn't place blame on his teammate. And yet, within his carefully chosen phrasing, there was an unmistakable undercurrent, an implication that not every car wearing the Ferrari red is created equal. In a team that often prides itself on unity and balance, Hamilton's remarks felt like the first ripple in what could become a much larger disturbance. What he alluded to, without spelling it out, was deeply significant. There appears to be something fundamentally wrong with his SF-25. A technical gremlin, hidden somewhere in the intricate mechanics or aerodynamics of his car, is holding him back from performing at the level he knows he's capable of. And most crucially, Lewis made one thing abundantly clear: this isn't a team-wide issue affecting both cars on the grid. This is isolated. This is personal. His car is suffering from a problem that seems unique to his side of the garage. That revelation naturally prompts a deeper question. Are we already witnessing the beginnings of internal tension within Ferrari, long before anyone expected it to surface? The possibility of friction erupting this early in the season is unsettling, especially given the monumental expectations surrounding Hamilton's arrival in Maranello. But beyond any potential interpersonal fallout, there's a more immediate and urgent concern. What happens next for Lewis, and how does the team respond? So far, the 2025 campaign has been anything but kind to him. 3 races in and just 15 points on the board, a number that feels almost foreign when attached to a driver of his pedigree. Adding insult to injury, his disqualification from the Chinese Grand Prix, though unrelated to pure performance, only made a shaky start look even worse. Still, in true Hamilton fashion, he refused to make vague excuses. He didn't point fingers at luck or adaptation. Instead, he pointed toward a specific flaw, something technical and tangible, an individual component in his car that simply isn't doing what it's supposed to do. And that insight is revealing. He's not blaming his driving. He's not suggesting he's struggling with Ferrari's famously sensitive car philosophy. No. He's stating, with as much clarity as allowed, that the machine itself is broken in a way that fundamentally limits his ability to compete. In Bahrain, Hamilton's remarks carried both quiet frustration and focused resolve. Over the first 3 races, he said, there's been a small but vital gap in performance, particularly in one area of the car. Compared to the other side of the garage, certain elements just haven't worked the way they're supposed to. And yet, despite that, he insists he's extracted everything possible from the flawed package. His message was clear, yet diplomatic. He stopped short of giving specifics, but anyone familiar with the sport didn't need them. The implication was that something, perhaps aerodynamic, perhaps mechanical, related to either the floor of the car or the stability of the rear end, is compromised. Interestingly, Hamilton has been lobbying for Ferrari to introduce the revised floor upgrade ahead of schedule. While key figures inside the team, such as Visser and Serra, are pushing for a more conservative rollout, aiming for Miami, Hamilton is clearly of the belief that this update could be the fix he's been waiting for. And that raises another uncomfortable question. If the issue is indeed isolated to Hamilton's car, why the resistance to implement the fix early? Could it be a matter of internal politics, disagreement over resource allocation? Is someone protecting the status quo, or are there deeper divisions forming behind the scenes? There's an undercurrent here that can't be ignored. If Ferrari continues to delay the upgrade and Hamilton's results continue to falter, it's only a matter of time before questions emerge from all corners. Fans, pundits, and perhaps even Hamilton himself. Are both drivers really being given equal machinery and support? If doubt begins to take root, it could set the stage for a chaotic and turbulent chapter in Ferrari's already volatile recent history. This isn't the first time Hamilton has found himself in a situation like this. He's never hesitated to speak his truth when he feels something is amiss. But there's a new tone to his voice this time, measured, strategic, and just a touch sharper. This isn't drama for the sake of noise. This is calculated pressure. This is a champion signaling that something is wrong, and it needs to be fixed. And with someone like Hamilton, when the alarm bells start ringing this early in the season, it's never just background noise. It's a clear signal that he's demanding action. He wants clarity. He wants fairness. And above all, he wants to win. As the Bahrain Grand Prix inches closer, the pressure is mounting, not just on Lewis Hamilton, but on the entire Ferrari operation. The SF25 has flashed moments of raw speed, yet it remains plagued by unpredictability. And unless the Scuderia tackles what Hamilton views as a core flaw in his car, they run the risk of squandering the capabilities of one of the greatest talents this sport has ever seen. One thing is absolutely clear. Hamilton didn't come to Ferrari to survive. He came to carve out a new legacy. And if something or someone is holding him back, it won't be long before he speaks out louder than he already has. The British driver has finally broken his silence on what has been a deeply frustrating beginning to the 2025 season. And this time, his words cut much deeper. The vague illusions are gone. The diplomatic restraint has faded. Hamilton is now pointing directly at the car as the root of his problems, and more importantly, he's zeroed in on a particular malfunction that's haunted him since the opening race. "We found something in the car that's been significantly underperforming in the first 3 rounds, Hamilton stated bluntly. "I really hope that once it's fixed, we can start to see better results. Right now, it's costing me over a tenth per lap, and that might not sound like a lot, but over a full race distance, that's the difference between fighting at the front or being stuck in the midfield. Hopefully, we can solve it before the next Grand Prix. In Formula One, a tenth of a second per lap can feel like an eternity." But what makes Hamilton's statement even more compelling is the underlying tone. He's not accusing anyone outright, but it's impossible not to hear a quiet jab at Ferrari's internal setup dynamics. More and more, it seems Hamilton is alluding to diverging car setups between him and his teammate. And if both SF25s are theoretically built with identical parts, how else do we explain such a noticeable difference in performance? The answer might lie in the fundamental philosophy of race car setup. Yes, both drivers technically operate the same model. But the way each car is fine-tuned during a race weekend can differ significantly, shaped by individual preferences, driving styles, and engineering direction. That variation can make one machine feel like poetry in motion and the other a technical nightmare. This theory gains momentum when you consider how Hamilton has approached his integration into the Scuderia. The 7-time champion has certainly leaned on Ferrari's infrastructure, but he's also relied heavily on his own encyclopedia of knowledge, amassed over 300 Grand Prix starts and years of development feedback. Hamilton understands the intricacies of chassis balance, torque mapping, mechanical grip, and aerodynamic flow better than most. And clearly, he's channeling that expertise into a sharp critique of his current situation. "People outside the garage severely underestimate what we do here when it comes to setup changes," he explained. "We're not just twisting a few knobs. We're analyzing layers of data, from how the aero balance shifts through corners to how the floor behaves under load. We're constantly tweaking to find the sweet spot. Even with all that, the difference between the cars is still greater than I'd normally expect. Something isn't right." These comments paint a layered picture of dissatisfaction. Hamilton appears to be struggling not just with his car's current limitations, but also with the broader trajectory of Ferrari's technical approach. Perhaps most worryingly, he's hinting at a lack of alignment within the team, between the two sides of the garage. There's a subtle but unmistakable hint of skepticism about the decisions being made for his setup compared to those across the aisle. It's a rare moment of professional humility, but also an important one. Hamilton now admits something that would have seemed unimaginable earlier in his career. He needs to take a more hands-on role in setup direction. During the Chinese Grand Prix weekend, he acknowledged that as the season unfolds, he'll need to dial in which configuration options suit him best. But the more pressing concern remains. His admission that one side of the garage is getting a better performing car than the other is too substantial to brush off. Now, all eyes are on Ferrari. Will they interpret Hamilton's comments as a constructive challenge or as a threat to their internal structure? According to Italian outlet Corriere dello Sport, Hamilton's recent statements have already stirred real tension within Maranello. Reportedly dissatisfied with the level of technical input he's been allowed, Hamilton has told the team he intends to chart his own course with setup decisions, relying more on his instincts than the collective wisdom of Ferrari's engineering team. This move has sent shockwaves through the Scuderia. Officially, Ferrari claims to be listening closely to everything Hamilton is saying about the SF25. But behind closed doors, the whispers are louder. Something volatile is brewing. The team always knew that signing Hamilton was a high-stakes gamble. The risk was immense, but so was the possible reward. Now, however, the risk is starting to bear its teeth. Hamilton is not just another driver. He's a force of nature, a determined strategist, and someone who has never played well under rigid systems that don't adapt to his methods. And when he senses that his way might work better, he doesn't hesitate to challenge the status quo. Ferrari may have thought they were bringing in a driver to elevate their brand and bring titles back to Maranello. What they may have underestimated is that Hamilton also brings demands, expectations, and the unshakable will of a champion who refuses to compromise. If Ferrari can't adjust, and fast, this partnership might evolve into something far more chaotic than glorious. And Lewis, as always, will be right at the center of it, refusing to be silent, unwilling to settle, and demanding more from a team that promised him the world. As Bahrain looms large on the Formula One calendar, the tension surrounding Ferrari, and especially Lewis Hamilton, is intensifying. The SF25 has delivered fleeting glimpses of brilliance, yet those moments have been overshadowed by inconsistencies that refuse to go away. And unless the team addresses what Hamilton sees as a deep-rooted flaw in his machine, they risk wasting the potential of a driver considered among the greatest the sport has ever known. Let's not forget the infamous Las Vegas meltdown last season, where Hamilton, furious over strategic blunders, declared that from that point forward, everything had to revolve around him. That fire hasn't dimmed, not in the slightest. If anything, it's burning brighter than ever, now dressed in Ferrari red, with the team's next major upgrade package scheduled to debut in Bahrain. All eyes are watching closely. Will this new development level the field between both drivers, or will it only widen the gap that's slowly forming in the garage? Then there's Leclerc, the other half of the Ferrari lineup, who now finds himself at the heart of what could evolve into an internal power struggle. According to reports, he's not about to stay silent in the face of Hamilton's recent comments. The Monegasque driver has made it clear. He's pushing the car to its absolute limits, yet still, the SF25 isn't delivering what he expects. He explained that while every element of the car's behavior can be fine-tuned, it's deeply frustrating to keep demanding more from a package that simply lacks the pace on race weekends. And now, Ferrari finds itself hosting two titans under one roof. Both frustrated. Both pushing for answers. But each leaning in entirely different directions when it comes to how they believe the team should respond. This has moved far beyond a simple technical issue. It's now about philosophy, about control, about identity. Hamilton has thrown down the gauntlet. He wants autonomy. He wants the freedom to tailor the car to his liking, to make the calls that suit his driving instincts. And now Ferrari must make a choice. Do they loosen their grip and let their newest star steer the ship, or do they tighten the reins and risk alienating one of the most decorated athletes the sport has ever seen? That decision could shape not only the rest of this season but the future of this entire project. Because with Hamilton, it's never just about machinery. It's about what it represents. And right now, the message he's sending is crystal clear. Fix it or step aside. He's been honest, painfully so, about how much the lack of performance is affecting him, both mentally and competitively. If he wants to see himself at the top of the podium more often this year, he'll have to produce performances that stretch beyond the limitations of the car. In short, he'll have to be not just good, but nearly superhuman. But that's the paradox of elite racing, isn't it? When you're paired with someone like Lewis Hamilton, the pressure isn't just measured on a stopwatch. It's psychological. It's strategic. It's about survival. Because even if the smiles in the paddock look friendly, even if the photo ops and team banter paint a picture of unity, everyone inside that garage knows better. The stakes are massive. The moment the lights go out, camaraderie takes a back seat. No one expects either side of the garage to go easy on the other. Not Hamilton. Not Leclerc. Especially not at Ferrari, a team steeped in tradition, where internal competition is often as intense as anything on the racetrack. But there's a bigger threat looming now, one that could overshadow even the personal rivalries. Time is running out for Ferrari. The SF25, which hinted at promise during pre-season testing in Scuderia, is about to face its most revealing trial yet, the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's no longer just about lap times. It's about progress. It's about proving that the foundation built over the winter wasn't just a mirage conjured by low fuel runs and ideal track conditions. Bahrain is brutal, hot, unforgiving. It tells the truth. And if there's anything left to unlock from this car, this is the circuit where we'll find out. Still, despite the urgency, internal divisions remain. Figures like Ver and Sarah continue to argue for patience. Their stance is that Ferrari needs more data, at least a few more races, before committing to major changes. They believe understanding must come before action. But the aerodynamic department isn't buying it. They've made it clear, there's no time left to hesitate. That's why the upcoming upgrade, expected to make its debut in Bahrain, carries so much weight. It's not just a new floor. It's a statement. A gamble. A turning point. Ver may have sensed the storm approaching. When asked about the current trajectory of the team ahead of the fourth race of the year, held on the very same track where pre-season testing took place, he didn't sugarcoat his response. He said Bahrain offers a prime opportunity to measure just how far they've come. Yes, conditions will be harsher, more demanding, but that makes the comparison even more revealing. We're not where we want to be in terms of raw performance, he admitted, but everyone at Maranello is pushing the limits in every department. Every tenth of a second counts now. The tiniest adjustment could mean the difference between finishing sixth or third. And he's right. In modern Formula One, the top 5 teams are often separated by mere hundredths. Precision engineering is everything. But even the most exact science has its limitations. If the SF25 is suffering from chronic understeer, sluggish rotation, or rear instability, as seen during practice and qualifying, it's unlikely that minor tweaks alone will turn it into a race winner. That's why the floor revision Hamilton's been demanding has become such a flashpoint. Reportedly, the updated component he's pushing to get installed immediately in Bahrain could address some of the deeper aerodynamic flaws plaguing the SF25. But not everyone agrees. While Hamilton wants it now, others are holding out for a full aero package expected to debut in Miami. From Hamilton's perspective, though, there's no time to waste. He wants the issue fixed yesterday. And who can blame him? He didn't sit idle at Mercedes, waiting for updates to catch up. Why would he start now? For him, Bahrain isn't just another race. It's a test of whether the team trusts him, believes in his instincts, and is willing to act with urgency. And if they don't, if the car is still lagging behind the competition, he may begin to doubt whether Ferrari truly has the tools and the mindset to deliver what he came here for, another world title. If Bahrain brings no solutions, if it merely confirms his growing suspicion that the SF25 is flawed to its core, then Ferrari may be forced to make a painful decision. Shift their focus toward 2026. Because let's face it, we're entering the final chapter of this era. The ground effect cars will be overhauled next season. Every decision made in 2025 must be weighed carefully. Fail now, and you risk pouring resources into a dead end. That's the brutal truth of development cycles in F1. And it leads us to the bigger question. Are Hamilton's recent remarks a subtle plea for help or a carefully calculated warning? Is this the first visible crack in the shiny surface of a partnership that was supposed to set the grid on fire? It's hard to say. But one thing is certain, Hamilton's patience is not infinite. He's endured 3 rough races. He sits at just 15 points. And with Bahrain fast approaching, Ferrari must make a decision. They can take a bold step forward, follow his lead, and bet on an early update. Or they can play it safe and risk watching their new superstar quietly lose faith. Whatever they choose, the next race will speak volumes, not just about the car, but about the future of this entire mission. So now we turn it over to you. Are Hamilton's comments just early season frustrations or a sign of something deeper? Do you believe Ferrari is on the right path? Are they on the edge of a breakthrough or already slipping into damage control? Let us know what you think down below. And while you're at it, don't forget to click the video that just popped up on your screen. It might just change how you see the 2025 season.